Agetevach, Hamazel Degevach, Avach, Filmid Yeshia. Okay, Chevre, what an incredible 2 weeks so far. An amazing journey. Really, everyone keeping along. Mamash just gives me tremendous chizuk, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So, a few things. Right before I started recording this, I saw that Aaron Ringel, Shirley Skurnik, Penny Gutman, Chesky Schwartz. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but the guys are doing the Chazaras, and just keep rocking. It's an incredible thing, especially you do it at home. Your kids watch you do it. It's a game changer for the house. Now, jumping right into this, we're going to do a quick weekly Chazara. So anybody else that wants, even the guys who did it, you're allowed to do it again. But again, the key is the Chazaras help you. We're going to do a quick weekly Chazara. Last week we ended off, and one second. Don't worry, I made a bracha off camera. Last week we ended off like this. By Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, 3 lines up, the second word on the line, Rava. So really, to give it's an intro, because it ended off in the middle, it was talking about that a door has kama a greifen, like we said, a greifen is fist sizes, and we saw over there by the Bryce, Rabbi Yehuda says, Loi hoi mivin dlasis al shvarm. So Abayi's answer was, Loi hutzach ulevi dlasis, it was not required to bring doors. However, now this is where we start this new week that we had. Rava Amar Rava says, Loi hoi mivin dlasis kalikar. No, not that we didn't need to. You didn't bring them at all. Why? Because the mind of a kid is wandering. Perhaps he's going to lean over, peek over with his head or one of his limbs. And he's become mitama from kevar tahim. Every time I turn, it reminds me to say that all these shurim are a schis for Akiva Simcha ben Fega, for a zivug hugin for Chav bas Miriam, Ahuv bas Miriam, and Dovdar ben Pina Peril. I would also like to say that I'd like to thank all the guys who really help get this thing rolling. I would like to say thank you to Heshi Rosenbaum for sponsoring the $1,000 raffle. I also like to thank Yossi Levy for sponsoring not just one set of Chanting Google, but 2 this week. So thank you very much. Also thank you very much to Mati Lunger, my brother-in-law, for really helping push us off the ground. Okay, so we said, Rava says the reason why the kid's mind is wandering, and he's going to lean over and perhaps become tameh and basically cancel the entire, what we were trying to do, all those 7 years of raising this kid and everything. In one moment, he leans over, it ruins the whole thing. So now, Tanya Kavasi de Rava. So we're going to bring a brisa supporting Rava. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yehuda says, Loi hoy mevid dlasis kalikar, that we didn't bring doors at all. Again, this is the brisa. Mepnei shadati shatina gasalav. Like we just said, maybe Shema Yotzi Rosh Echad Mevar V'Tameh B'Kera Time. Perhaps he's going to reach over with his head or one of his limbs, and he's become Tameh B'Kera Time. Ella. Now this is the part that we said is the added part to the brisa. El Mevin Shvarm Hamitzriim Shekriseseim Rechavis. But we would bring Egyptian oxen that their bellies are super wide. I'm laughing because there's someone off camera who's about to burst out laughing. But we're going to roll with it. And these children were seen on top of them. And stone cups were in their hands. Now remember, this is talking about that we would bring super wide bellied oxen. Why? So that we would provide good enough space for blocking the tumah. And they would bring the stone cups in their hand. The reason being, it's not makabel tumah. When they would come to the shilach, yardu umilum, they would go in and fill it up. And again, they would climb back up, go on top of it. And al gabein, actually very interesting. Shai Kalman brought a question, and he basically brought this as an answer. He says, if you look, the brisa, the daf, the only before, it doesn't say al gabein, it says, they would go back. What did it say? V'yashu lahem. Basically, they would go back on top of them. It wouldn't say al gabein. Over here it says al gabein because again, it's a super wide-bellied oxen, and there was no door. Interesting pointer that he brought out. Okay. So now the obvious question is that a door has multiple fist sizes of space. A bed, like by our Mishnah, has multiple fist sizes of space. So, and what does Rabbi Yehuda say in the Mishnah? Vitnan, in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, we were noig that we would sleep underneath the bed, so it's not an oil. And they didn't say anything. So sleeping underneath the bed is not an oil, and you're yotze the mitzvah, but it has multiple fist-sized spaces, so why is it not considered an oil? So now the answer is going to be Shaina Mita Hoil Legaba Asuya. A bed is different because it was meant to sleep on top of it, not underneath it. So comes the same obvious question. What about oxen? Shvarm Nami Legaban Asuyun. Oxen are also meant to sit on them and not sleep underneath them. Sit underneath them, sleep underneath them. Ki also Ravin Amar Belazar. So when Ravin came from Eretz Yisrael, he said in Amar Belazar, Shani Shvarim, no, oxen are different. Hoil Umaginin, because they protect Alaroyim Bechama, the shepherds, from the sun, Mipnei Chama, from the heat. Ubegishamim, Mipnei Aksham, and during the rainy season, from the rain. Yihachi, so now we're going to go back. Mitanami, a bed also, Hoil Magina, Aminalim V'Sadnalim, Shatachtea. Just like you're saying now, oxen protect the shepherds underneath them. Okay, a bed also, what does it protect? Your shoes, your personal items beneath it. Over here specifically, he talks about shoes, because it says, Rashi mentions Talmud Chacham, you're not supposed to have other stuff underneath your bed, just shoes and stuff, so that way people would not be regularly coming there. Ela Amar Rava, rather Rava says, Shiny Shvarm, Hoyel V'Asim Lahagen Al Bnei Mayim. The reason why an ox is different than a bed, in this case, even though you put stuff underneath it, is because an ox by default has sort of a protective measure built into it. That the what? Hoil v'asuyim lahagen al bnei mayim shalem shenemar arubos atabisheni uba'atzamois v'gidim tesecheni. Like it says, it has a built-in protective layer that the top part of the ox protects the bottom part of the ox with all its skin and its bones and so on. So, and it uses the lashon tesecheni. So we say that an ox by default was built with this type of protective feature, and not a bed. A bed you would have to have in mind to say, okay, I want this to be an oil to sleep underneath it type of thing, or that you couldn't be able to. V'bay sema. And if you want, you could come back with a different teretz. That what? That Rabbi Huda could go according to his reasoning that you could sleep underneath the bed, it is still an oil, and you're yotze the mitzvah. So how would that work? The Amar, because he says, Sukkah diras kevabinan. Because we said that according to Rabbi Huda, in Daf Beis, at the beginning of the Masechta, or in Daf Zayin, he says that a sukkah needs to be a diras keva. It has to be a permanent structure. So, v'havale mita diras arai. So a bed would still, let's say, be considered a structure, but it's a temporary structure. V'sukkah oil keva, and a sukkah is an oil keva, right? V'loy asi oil arai muvatal oil keva. So basically, he's coming to say, Rabbi Huda could go according to his reasoning that a bed is a oil, let's say, and you're still yotze the mitzvah. Why? Because it is a weaker oil than the oil keva, and it cannot cancel out the power of the sukkah. So, V'har Reb Shimon, now we're just going to come with a question. In Daf Zayin, Reb Shimon also says it needs to be there, diras keva. And in our Mishnah, Reb Shimon says you can't sleep underneath the bed. So, we're bringing that as a question. V'har Reb Shimon da Amar Nami, sukkah diras keva binan. And Reb Shimon also says that a sukkah needs to be a diras keva. Ve'asi oil arai u'mevatal oil keva. And he says it is mevatal. Even though it's an oil arai, it is mevatal the sukkah. Meaning it causes a break between them, and you can't sleep underneath the bed. And if you do, you're not yotze the mitzvah. In Baha Pligi, this is what they're arguing. Mar Savar Asi oil arai mevatal oil keva. One says an oil arai is mevatal oil keva. Or Mar Savar lo asi oil arai mevatal oil keva. One says it's not a oil arai is not mevatal oil keva. So you see that this is all the back and forth that we went was to get to this point. That in our Mishnah, this is what they're both arguing about, if an oil arai is mevatal al keva. New sugya, we're going into the Mishnah part of the story of Tevi, the Eved of Rabbi Gamliel. Amar Reb Shimon, Ma'aseh b'Tevi Avdai. Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Amar Reb Shimon, Misi Chasei Shatz Rabbi Gamliel, from the Shmuzing of Rabbi Gamliel, Lamad Nishnei Dvarim. We learned out two things. One second. From the Sicha Misichase, which is the regular conversation of Rabbi Gamliel, we learn out two things. Lamanu Shavadim Turman Sukkah. We learn out that Avadim are part from the Sukkah. We also learned that someone who sleeps underneath a bed in a sukkah is not yotze the mitzvah. Let us say midvarv. So why don't we say midvarv? Why are we saying misichasan shalom leil? We should say midvarv shalom leil. Why? It's coming to teach us something. Milsa agav orcha kamashman. It's coming to teach us a side thing. If it would just say midvarv, then we would never know to always look out for the misichasa. We would never know to look out for whenever two gedolim are talking and having a side conversation. We wouldn't know to pinpoint every word. So it wanted to bring that out so we know not just their Torah, also their conversations. Kihad Amar B'Acha Bar Ada Va'ar Mila Amar B'Acha Bar Ada Amar Rav Menuna Amar Rav Minayin Shalfilo Sichas Tamid Chachamim Tzichem Limod. From where do we know that even these conversations of Tamid Chachamim need a limod? Shenemar Va'aleu Lo, because it says in the leaves do not wither, like we sang on Thursday night. It says on the side that it's like you're planted by the sides, by the streams of the river, the tree planted by the stream of the river, where its fruit are coming forth by its proper time, and its leaves do not wither, meaning even its leaves are always strong and giving forth goods. Continue. It's an incredible start that we have. It feels like we're doing this for a long time already. Let's keep pushing forward, keep doing the Chazara, and the goal is to get to the point where learning is sweet. So like we ended off right now, we'll see you guys Monday night.